everything in this country runs based on the credit. Credit is like the fuel. You have to have a credit score to get a better credit card. I mean, it's like a circle. So first year when you move here, you'll realize that for everything you have to pay a premium because you don't have a good credit score. It takes almost a 1 year to build a decent credit score and start, impressing the creditors or the banks that you are a good candidate for them to provide the services.
Yes. Hey, viewers and listeners. Welcome to yet another amazing episode of the Right Now Show. It's a beautiful Sunday morning. I'm sorry. It's Saturday night for some people. At least for our guest, it's a Saturday night. So we have our first international guest in this podcast. And he's Mr. Raja. So Raja was, he's more than like, he's a good friend. I came to know him through my band. Actually, he was like super senior guy. We're from the same college, and he plays trombone like really well and really loud. So so we used to call him Tony Blair, I guess, because of the blaring.
Quietly, you inserted
Yeah.
that.
So yeah, I mean, Raja has moved to US and he's working there as part of a health insurance company as a business analyst, and he's been there for a couple of years now, and he's also pursued his MBA from one of the colleges there. So we were just having a chat, and we decided, like what would we speak about? And he said something like breaking stereotypes of US and Indian people especially. So there's stereotype from everyone all the time. So like we have stereotypes about Americans and they have about us, and so we'll be busting some myths, and we'll be saying we'll be listening to some cool facts that I cannot wait to listen. And yeah, we're all ready to start. So yes, Raja, over to you.
Right. So yeah, you said couple of years. Probably it's going to be 5 years since I moved here. And yeah, before I moved, I really had a different perspective of how this country is and how things at this country were. And these 5 years have been really a learning experience. So certain things, I was like, oh, okay, it's not really different on this side of the globe. It's essentially, human beings are pretty much same wherever they are. Geography or the degree that you hold really doesn't matter. Certain things we all do the same way. We all feel the same way probably. We all have the same kind of insecurities.
I think like especially moving abroad, right? Like you're almost like breaking out of comfort zone, and
Yeah,
so
I think
that's
the major thing is people thinking, oh, going abroad is like a crazy thing, but I think it has its fair share of challenges, right? And there are some things that people don't tell you. It's just the dream that is sold to you, right? But the challenges behind the dream, what really goes behind, is something that's not really told or spoken about. And I think Raja
the
has
great
lived
American
through the
dream.
dream. Yeah, he's lived through the American dream, and then he's going to tell us how difficult is the American dream, and obviously the positives of it also.
Yeah. So yeah, as you said, no, it has its fair share of adversities as well. So when you first time move, not just United States of America, I think any country for that matter, you're moving away from your homeland, you have a certain level of restrictions on what you can do, how you can do, and how you can be. You cannot probably live the same kind of lifestyle to start with. You have to adapt a lot. And yeah, so that's how you sail through these challenges. But once you get through the initial barriers of the cultural barriers, or if it can be something related to the visas, once you sail through the initial barriers, I think you tend to get adjusted to that. And uh, it can go either way. You can really become humble towards any situation that comes across, or any human being you're talking to. You really understand, you learn that everybody is going through something, whether it is in the home country or somewhere else. And that really makes you, or you could also become like, hey, I'm here, and you're back there, I'm an NRI now. So yeah, it can go either way. You just have to watch out how how it turns out for you.
Yeah, so obviously, like it's a huge learning experience, right? The whole thing. So in the whole journey, you learn so many things, and like, hey, I thought this was like this, but it's not like this, and things like that. So basically, the stereotypes and myths and things like that. So the first myth or the first thing we have in line is like all Americans are rich. So that's what a lot of people think.
I mean, when I was, before I moved here, I used to think, man, everybody there has a car. Almost everybody has a car. I would say, I'm not quoting any from any source, but close to 85 to 90% of the people have cars. But only after, I thought, okay, they were so rich that they're able to buy a car. But only after moving here, I realized that it's an essential here, because not all cities have good public transport. Even if there is public transport, the concept of owning a car is embedded into your system so much that you have to own a car. It's not luxury, but it is more of an essential. What type of car? Definitely is a luxury, but having a car, your own personal vehicle, it's an essential thing. So that's something I used to think that oh, everybody has a car, so they're rich. And yeah, cities like Los Angeles or New York, it's so expensive that you end up paying close to 50 to 60% of your monthly income towards your home rent alone, keeping aside all your other expenses. Home rent alone, you pay around 50% of your salary. And that is something even if you want to look for cheaper options, either that's too far from your workplace or you really need to commute longer hours. So people tend to get closer to their workplace and possible, so as much as possible. That's why they end up paying more towards their rent. And
And in India, if I want to buy a vehicle and it's just for transportation, I'll consider a bike first and not a car.
Yeah, but I think
What's the
that is
situation there?
also, that bike thing is also because of certain space constraints, right? Here you can't like the population is so huge that you can't imagine everyone has a car, then you're like off. But I think it's also cheaper, right? If you look at India now, the cars are like close to around 20 lakhs, like a decent car, like, or 15 lakhs, which is not I don't think it's so practical for people to dream of. But I think, like how you said, the essential aspect of it, and then obviously the public transport aspect of it also. Yeah.
right. Yeah, so bikes here are luxury. So people, typically I've seen, I'm kind of generalizing, but again, so it's like a luxury. People who are, on the verge of probably settling down or really are, adventurous. So it's kind of a lifestyle statement.
Or who can pay higher health insurance?
Yeah, so that's the other aspect. If you own a bike, you are seen as a risky individual when it comes to your health insurance. But yeah, so very adventurous. So it kind of makes a statement. Imagine, if you have an Apache RTR 180, or I that's what I used to have.
Oh,
That is not considered as a
high five.
Oh, really awesome. Yeah, nobody cares what a RTR 180 or 160. But here, any kind of bike you have, you are already seen as a adventurous person, or somebody who's keen at going at trips, road trips, or all that.
That's
So
over and
bikes
above
are
the car,
great.
basically.
Yeah, cars, you have like spectrum, right? Like the used car business is huge here. So I myself bought a used car because first thing, everything in this country runs based on the credit. Credit is like the fuel here. You have to have a good credit score. Only then you can get even a good credit card. Imagine, you have to have a credit score to get a better credit card. So it's like a circle. So first year when you move here, you'll realize that for everything you have to pay a premium because you don't have a good credit score. It takes almost 1 year to build a decent credit score and start impressing the creditors or the banks that you are a good candidate for them to provide the services. So the first year you pay higher premium for your health insurance, you pay higher deposit money when you're getting in a house for rent, and you have to pay higher insurances for your car, everything. Like when you want to buy a car in the first 3-4 months, you cannot, because they pull out your credit report. There won't be any, because maybe you don't have a credit card yet. You are still working out of your debit card, right? So first 1 year is a struggle establishing your credit, and after that it's like, identifying the best way to spend credit and credit cards, travel, rewards, all that, and all that comes into picture. Yeah.
But I think, is there a way? I know it's a stupid question, right? I think, but people will generally have this question: is there a way? Look, I have a credit card here, back here in India. I have certain loans. Is there a way you can transfer that, or would they even look at it? Because again, in the whole context of being rich and credit being the underlying factor right here, is there a way that those guys still look at this and say, okay, yeah, I think he's still a credit worthy person?
Basically, the credit score system in India, like how similar it is to US.
Yeah. So here what happens is, typically you are considered a great candidate based on a credit card, is based on the number of accounts. If you have, when I say accounts, it could be credit cards, car loans, personal loans, student loans. So if you have anywhere around 6 to 10 credit accounts, then you are considered a good candidate, or your credit score will be higher. So 6 to 10 accounts, which means it could be, and it has to be a mix of any 2-3 kinds of credit instruments. I myself have like 5 credit cards, and if I add one more, so I'll be getting into that green zone where my credit score gets better. So probably if I get a car loan, my credit score really boosts up. So the more you have, and also the most important factor is, again, I think it's same thing in India, that how well you are maintaining your balances, whether you're making payments on time, because that weighs a lot in keeping your credit score intact. So you make on-time payments, and you don't consume anything more than 10 to 20% of your total credit limit. So if your credit limit is, let's say, $10,000, if you are exceeding more than 3,000, or let's say $4,000, then your credit points will slowly come down. So it's better to keep. Yeah. So there are a lot of factors that make you a credit worthy person. And again, it's the game of gambling.
Yeah.
Reduce this, increase that.
Yeah. So I think basically it means that, okay, look, what we're having, the whole myth of being rich, they're rich in terms of having liability, right? At the end of the day, credit card is a liability. That's the dream that is sold, saying, okay, look, this is all liability, have more liability and have more credit. Maybe that's what is rich. Yeah.
Exactly. The more debt you have, the more you get from the banks in turn, that, take this loan, take that loan, because you already have this much loan. Yeah. So they keep increasing to your debt.
No, I think it's a crazy difference in terms of two cultures, right? What we have in India here, and then the whole US there, and it boils down to that, the whole culture of spending. Here it's like we save till the end. It's like all saving, like have more account in the like have more. People are wanting more interest from their savings bank's account, right? Rather than there, it's a different culture. Yeah. So.
And
Yep.
even here, if you see, they have checking account and savings account. The concept is so different from here to India. Savings, I think you get, I don't know how much you're getting now, but I used to get like around 4% on my savings account. Here, they give the bank account that I have right now, they give me 0.01%. So there is no point in keeping money in your bank account. You always have to either put it in stocks or put somewhere else where you get high yield. So that's one way they don't allow or encourage you to keep your money in your bank accounts, because you're not getting any funds back from them. There are few private, smaller credit unions. I think we call them NBFCs in India. So there they give you around like 0.2, 0.3%. That itself is like, wow, they're paying you so much back for keeping your money with them. But yeah, here it's savings is not encouraged from the point of returns for you on the interest, but they have something called like how we have provident fund, right? PF, they have something called 401k. So they encourage you to input more money into those accounts, and buy life insurances. So again, you have to give money to them so that they can do their investment games. But yeah, definitely savings account is like nobody really looks at your savings accounts. Like you hardly get any interest on that.
Wow, that's. Have you been investing a lot in like mutual funds, stocks, etc.?
I have been doing a very little bit. So there is an app called Robinhood here. I'm not promoting anything, but it's a nice way to start investing your stocks. And I also have bought a little bit of cryptocurrency, just to see how the whole crypto market or how the game works. And I haven't ventured into the NFTs yet because I don't own any Ethereums yet. But I went with the trend for the doggy or Dogecoin. Um, and I really bought it out of impulse. And then when I started seeing, Elon Musk talking about it and the SNL bust that happened, now again it's going up. So it's pretty interesting how that works. And I'm investing very little money in that.
But I think it's so important that these new financial instruments, right? They're a whole level playing game. Suddenly now everyone's rich, right? We were talking about the myth of someone else being rich in some country and here. Now things like crypto, it's like you can sit in India and like be rich at the same time, like how people are in the US. So
Exactly. Now I think it doesn't matter. I mean, slowly after this corona, I think it's going to be like, doesn't matter where you are. It's how much you're investing into what. I think that's really going to make you rich. It doesn't really, I think it's breaking all the boundaries, all this cryptocurrency and digitalization of all the instruments, right? I think it's breaking the barriers.
If I were to ask a very generic question, like, how good are Americans with money? Like, if you ask me, like, how good are Indians with money? I'll definitely say that, most Indians are not. Like, most, I would say 80% of Indians are not. Like, so if we were to put like a stereotypical figure in place, yeah.
I would say Indians are very good at saving money. Americans are very good at spending money. So if you look at their bank accounts any given day, I don't think it will be like it'll always be a sorry number. You look at the account and like, what, that's it? That's all you have in your bank account? But they really have, side hustles going on. All this influencer thing is a huge thing right now. And I think the employment itself, when the corona started last year, there was huge amount of people who were furloughed, taken out of the payroll, and who went unemployed. So right now they're finding it difficult to bring people back to the force because they already got used to this side hustles and earning through different ways. So they are not really interested in going back to what they were doing. So there are companies who are providing really great benefits, attractive benefits to bring people back to workforce. They're finding it difficult. So yeah, it has changed. I mean, the whole employment game here has changed. Talking typically in the Americans,
Yeah, like you said, the online, the content creation, curation has become like next level stuff in like last 1 year with TikTok and Reels and all. Like, they like just change the game, man. Like,
yes. And you don't even have to own a shop. You just need a garage. Either you can use your neighbor's garage, or you can use your own garage. Get your inventory and start, making stuff like candles. What is that name in the office? Candle by
Serenity by Jan.
exactly. So yeah, I mean, lot of small based businesses are coming up, mostly which are done by home and just delivery kind of businesses. Yes.
Yeah, so that brings me to the point, like, how are like entrepreneurship opportunities there? Like, if I want to, like, if I've just come to US, like, okay, I've been there for a year or something like that, and I want to start my own business. So, like, how flexible is it? And
Yeah, I mean, keeping all the regulations in mind. No, I mean, if you're a foreign national, if you're coming to invest, I think there are different kinds of regulations around it. But if let's say you are a citizen and you're able to, there are lots and lots of opportunities in any sector that you pick up, especially in IT. I think it just opened up the whole digital space, or working remotely, kind of. It just opened up everything. It's a lot of avenues for small businesses to grow. But if you are coming as a foreign national, it definitely is still difficult. It takes a little while to go through the process and surpassing all the regulations, going through all of that and start your own business. Yeah, I feel there are a lot of people, a lot of small businesses coming up and offering many services, and definitely platforms like Amazon is probably uh, really helpful for those guys, especially the influencers, right, who
Hmm.
own who get into the affiliate marketing. I think it really opened up a huge workspace or an alternate profession.
But see, I think in India, right, we're always told that, look, from when we were small, probably from when we were kids, we are told, look, study, 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 because that's how you're going to get rich, right? Education is given such a big emphasis here. Uh, is that the thing even in the US? Because I mean, the whole point or the hypothesis being that, are they well educated, and is that why is that's the reason that they have, I mean, largely a lot of money, or the whole education factor of US? I mean, that's something that you can probably throw light on.
The whole myth of, like all Americans are educated.
Exactly. I think, whoever is able to speak good English, we feel that they are, scholars, or, I think that's something I used to at least personally feel, oh, wow, he speaks great English, but that's his mother tongue. I mean, if I go to some remote place in Andhra, he speaks very good Telugu. I mean, it doesn't automatically make him. But the education system, I mean, I'm sure some you might already know, it's free until high school. That is like almost considered like 12th grade, or PUC, right? Yeah, PUC second year. So until then, there is an option for you to do free. There are government schools that you can go to. There are private schools. If you think that you have too much money to handle, you can send your kids to private schools. I mean, there are other factors why they send to private schools. But after that is when the real struggle begins. The university education, getting a degree, college degree, is very expensive, and also it needs a lot of effort. It's very, until your high school, probably I haven't done high school here, so I don't really want to say it's easy, but probably it's a different intensity, at a different intensity. But once you get into the college, the intensity really, it becomes very rigorous. And probably that's why many people don't either go to college or drop out from college, because they're not able to handle the intensity at which you have to put in effort. And those who are able to go through that, I'm sure they'll go to the masters or take a break and do the masters. And yeah, but a lot of people, once they're done with high school, they start looking for jobs and grow from there. They start their own business and they become rich. So the opportunity is definitely there. It doesn't, you don't necessarily have to have a certain degree to excel in what you want to do. Or if you definitely need a job, then you have to have those basic requirements like a bachelor's degree or something. But if you're starting your own business, then sky's the limit. So yeah, but
Yeah.
the whole education system is so different here. Even the colleges, so they can opt to go to community colleges, which is equivalent to probably government colleges in India, and you can do a couple of semesters there and go to a private college or state university, do a couple of semesters there, and again come back to community college. So you can do a mix and match. But unfortunately, I don't know if really in India you can do that, go to one college, and you can jump definitely, but there is a stream that you have to follow, there's a curriculum you have to follow. And you can transfer the credits. If you do a particular course in government college, you don't have to redo that in the private college, or you can carry that forward. So it's
Also, there are
totally
like
different.
those students exchange programs and all, right, where
Yeah,
you get to go
yeah.
to a
So
different
you
university.
can
And
they can go to foreign countries like Europe. They can do a couple of courses there and come back and continue their masters here, or use those credits or those subjects to complete 1 year here without having to do it again.
I think that's one thing which I would have like loved in my education, because the kind of exposure, the kind of understanding that we get, like we haven't got, at least I haven't got that. So I
Right.
really envy those students, at least, because
Right. I think there
they
are
get to go.
few programs in India which, at, I don't know, SP Jain or somewhere, you get to do
Hmm.
1 year in Singapore and then come back to India, but very, very few. Yeah. As you said, The whole education system is so different in India, and even here you can pace out your degree. It's not like you have to complete your bachelor's in 3 years. If you want, you can pace it out based on the credits that you want to take. Even your master's, you can try to complete early, or you can extend it for by a year or a semester.
But you talked about intensity, right? And that being a key. I mean, so what do you mean by intensity? Like, how intense is it compared to obviously Indian education that we have here?
Yeah, I think in my MBA, when I was doing, we had definitely case studies, which we had to do a lot of research, and just not reading up from a textbook and trying to get your assignments done. But here it is more of practical stuff. You have to do a lot of case studies, and especially when it comes to MBA, you have to take real life examples, do your own research. And another greater aspect here is plagiarism. It's such a strictly looked at. You will get warnings first time if you find it. I mean, even if you use some phrases from some textbook or some source, if you don't give a credit to that, like by mentioning the source, you are given a warning first time. Second time, you are failed in that particular paper. Third time, if you're found, you'll be discontinued from that program itself.
It's like basically YouTube copyright strike laws are like very similar. They give you 3 strikes. So if you're caught first time, they'll give you a warning. Second time also you have a warning. Third time your account is deleted. So
First time they fail you in the paper. Second time, I mean, you can retake it. Second time, you cannot do that. You have to wait for another semester. So plagiarism is very, very seriously taken here. Uh, so that adds a lot to the intensity. You have to produce original work week after week. I mean, the some of the courses are so so intensive that you really have to put in a lot of work, especially if you're getting into executive programs, or when you're working and you're taking some courses. It is very difficult because if you have 2 papers in a semester, you have to submit 2 assignments every week. So it's great.
the copyright thing actually reminds me of that Michael Scott quote, like he says like fool me once, strike one. Fool me twice, strike three.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure some universities must be doing that. Maybe they're not too lenient, so they might just send you away after second strike.
But do you think there's a correlation? We've seen great companies come out of US, right? Mm. In terms of technology, in terms of innovation. But do you think small things like these, right, in terms of university, when you're saying taking plagiarism very seriously, putting more emphasis on original work, do you think that correlates to greater innovation, the whole mindset of greater innovation, rather than just taking something from someone, breaking it down and copying? So uh, do you think that's the thing?
I think that's a great thought. I mean, yeah, I'm sure originality, if you encourage at a school level or at a college level, it definitely you can carry it over when you are into your professional or your career or your own business you're starting. I'm sure that integrity you carry over, and that really helps you stay focused on what you want to achieve instead of just being a mimic of something else.
That's one thing, and obviously the whole thing of experiential learning, right? That is something which we didn't get in Indian schools, and like a couple of friends of mine who studied in Canada and all that, like who did their schooling and all, no, they talk so much about it. Like even at a school level, if you want to talk about, like animals also have lives. So how do you make them understand? Like give kids one insect and ask them to take care of it. Like so they do it and they get attached to it, and when they see it die, they're like, oh my god, we should take care of that. I mean, it's a very simple thing. And same thing if you like, extrapolate it to MBA. Like I did my MBA and I never learned to sell anything. Like
Yeah.
that's
So I remember one of the assignments that we had to do here was they gave us one. You had to choose a company. So the paper was strategic management. You have to choose company, any company that you want. and you have to do a complete analysis of that company. So that involves cost benefit analysis, financial analysis. You have to talk about their HR practices, training, L&D, and how that company is investing in corporate social responsibility into the community, back into the community. If they have products, how do they market? If they are service-based companies, what kind of services they provide, how much emphasis they put on customer service. So what this makes you is, this prepares you for, if you are starting your own business, it gives you a complete picture of what you're doing. I mean, you definitely have these also in India, but I personally didn't have that in my first MBA. But when I did the MBA here, it made more sense, maybe because I had even working experience, so professional experience. So I think that made more sense for me when I did that paper here.
Yeah, I mean that's a great observation, right? In our MBA, we just studied like some accounts, yeah, finance. Like, okay, the next class is coming, the next teacher comes, takes some whatever is the attendance, and then okay, yeah, okay, teaches, and done. We study for the exam. But yeah,
I remember one of the financial management papers back in India when I did MBA. They had I think capital finance or somewhere. So they taught us about how to start a food truck. So what all do you need? Fixed capital, working capital. But it didn't make real sense for me, because back in those days, I don't remember seeing a food truck. I'm like, okay, what exactly is a food truck? Why do we need a food truck? But now it makes more sense when I think about that, why they were doing it, so that I can extrapolate that to a bigger business, or wherever I'm working, I can relate to the business, the model that they are working in. But yeah, so it's totally a different experience. And here, the university education is all experience based. Um, Definitely real life examples.